So today we were back working on the Trans Am. Now even though the car isn't in here, we're gonna start with something I completely overlooked on this car. I got new carpet, new headliner, I think I even got new sun visors, and I got T-top shades. I got nice new fresh T-top shades. However, I forgot about the door panels, which are completely soaked in mouse, piss, and shite. Now, after removing the panels from the car, I found a literal rat mansion in the passenger side door filled with rat's nests from the insulation material from the car. And because of that, like halfway up the passenger door panel is just soaked in piss. The driver's side has some as well, and there's actually little pieces of turd stuck to the piss. So even though the outside of these panels actually look pretty decent, I probably could have cleaned them up or dyed them or something. As soon as these go back in the car, you get a hot day, it's gonna just smell like piss again, because all these they're just cardboard pretty much with fabric stuck to them. So instead of ordering expensive new panels for like $400 or $500 and waiting 8 to 12 weeks for them to be made, I am much too impatient for that. So today we're gonna try to make our own for like $100 with materials from the hardware store and Amazon, and hope they look a little better than these. So first of all, the main thing we need is a new backer board. So I picked up some of this stuff. It's pretty much, it's like the same material as a pegboard. Unfortunately, they didn't have the cheaper version, which has, it's pretty much just brown on both sides like this. But these cost 15 bucks a piece. I got 2 of them. I guess we might as well start with Pissy Magoo over here. So all these clips, these guys just spin out of here. We'll put them on our new panel. Say goodbye to this crap. Ugh. You know, I didn't pick any up, but I have a bunch of that either like Lsxmatt, the sound deadening left over, or that foam Noiko brand stuff that I put in the interior. I think I'm just gonna stick a bunch of that to the back of our new panels to make up for the insulation. And this is gonna be crucial because this is what's gonna hide my crimes, because I'm not gonna replicate the panel exactly because I don't have the ability. These are, I thought I could get away with just peeling the material off because I thought it was just glued on and just spray gluing it onto a new panel and just keeping the, the stock outside. But they're actually, you can see they're stitched to this cardboard. And first of all, there's no way you're gonna be able to stitch through that, that wainscoting board that I picked up. It's too thick or it's too, dense. The other issue is I don't know how to sew, nor do I own anything to sew. And I don't feel like learning for this. So even if I just used cardboard, I still can't, replicate and stitch it all the way around the outside. So some stuff like this design down here, the two-tone, that's gonna have to go. Nice. Beautiful. We'll give this guy a nice little paint job. All right, lastly is the fun part, trying to get the speed nuts off, because they're like inverted speed nuts. You can see you kind of need like a security Allen bit to get in there, which I do not friggin' have. So I'm gonna try, I don't know, maybe needle nose pliers, something to try to get in there and get those unscrewed. I have security bits, but the hole in the center of the bit, it's too friggin' shallow to get down into this crap. Shit. It's going. 2. All right, so we'll get this guy cleaned up, put it back on our new one. Now, I want to get, I just want to rip, yeah. I want to get all the material off. That way I could trace like all of these holes and get everything in the exact same spot. There's actually some nice foam in here. And if I could save this, you bet your ass I'm going to. Yes. Awesome. Not exactly what I wanted to happen, but I could work with that. Let's get some tape. All right, perfect. All right, so it's been a minute, a few months actually, since I started working on this little project here. I got distracted with that 65 Barracuda. And I also made a second channel. I made a little update video in case you missed it. Link at the top of the screen for that second channel. It's a little different from what I do here. There's no talking, it's just me fixing the car, no commentary. It's a fun video to make, and there's gonna be more on that car on that channel. And I'm probably gonna put a lot of the Newport stuff on that channel too. But today I'm finally back working on the Trans Am's door panels. And where we last left off, I got the panel stripped down. You can see this is an absolute shit shape. I taped it back together, and I went and picked up this, it's like a fiberboard. It's basically, you know, a pegboard with all the holes that you can hang tools on. It's the same thing as that, it just doesn't have the holes in it. It's pretty much the same thickness, maybe a tad thicker than the original door panel. And all we're gonna do is trace out all the holes and everything in here. We're gonna cut it out. We'll have a nice new backing. And then I'm gonna cover it with some gray suede and some just regular gray vinyl that I picked up off of eBay. Let's start in the middle here, that way if this moves, you know, I have something to realign it with. This material is a little thicker, but they still do fit in there. It's great, and you know, the slots should give us enough room to kind of get everything where they need to be, line it up with the door. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, I got 4 more of these. And then let's bring this out to the car. We'll pop a couple of clips in it. We'll see how everything lines up. Trim where we need to trim, and then I think it's time to start covering it. Okay, so door handle, controls. So that all seems to line up pretty good. Let's see if I can catch. There's a hole there. It's got to come down a little bit. There's one. There's one. There's one. Can we get one down here? Well, perfect. Right on the money. I mean, I traced the panel, so it really shouldn't be that far off. You know what? I think that's correct. I think that's supposed to kind of be proud, stick up like that. Because then these, oh yeah. I think that's it. I think that'll work just fine. All right, so I just got done marking out the passenger side. Who would have thought the white side's actually a lot easier to draw on? But I did this on the white side. That way when I flip it over, it'll be mirrored, and that'll be my passenger, because going through the effort to rip this apart again and have to kind of, you know, figure out where the panel ends, where the stitches get ripped out, it's not really worth it. So I think this will work just fine. They appear to be exactly the same. But one last thing I need to do before we cover this guy, you can see I already came in here and I marked it out through the old panel, is drill the holes for this piece of trim. Because this is what's actually going to hide our seam when I go to put my material on, which you can see here, I got some gray suede. I got this off of eBay, and I got some gray vinyl, which I picked up off of eBay as well. Perfect. All right, so I guess we will start with the gray vinyl, being that's going to be covering most of the panel. And then I'll just poke, 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 and then we'll cut that and hope for the best. Probably the best way to do it. It's hard to get a marker in there, so I'm just poking little holes in the vinyl with a pick. Perfect. You know what? I think that'll do just fine, because the trim, you know, we don't got to be perfect here. The trim is going to hide a lot of that seam. I think that'll do. Trim there, we'll do this in suede. Now, before we glue this down, let's go ahead and cut the suede, and we gotta do the same thing. Just cut out this section. Right up against that line. It lines up actually like perfectly. We could glue this down, and then our vinyl something like that. I can line the little dots up too. Oh, perfect. Like it's cut from the same piece. Lines up perfectly right on the holes. Our trim will hide that seam. I gotta cut this out. It's kind of squared off on the vinyl part. And then right here, the trim's gonna end. And then just like the factory panel, we'll just kind of have a little, you know, a little seam like that. You're not gonna see when the doors close anyway. So I think I'm gonna start with this under padding. Let's get all this stuff out of the way so we don't get disgusting spray glue on it. And I have some, where the hell is it? It's got some Permatex headliner adhesive. This is like a contact cement, so it's very important. You gotta spray it on both surfaces. So we gotta spray it on the back of this and on our panel here. Now the beauty of this being contact cement, even though I sprayed this entire thing, the material isn't gonna like really stick to it until I spray both sides. So this and the vinyl. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lay the vinyl down. I'm just gonna spray this back portion, kind of get that into place. And then I'll spray the back of this as I go and lay it down. So I make sure everything kind of goes down straight where it needs to be. Perfect. I'm just gonna come along here, peel that back, and just spray a little bit at a time. Also really important not to spray this crap, you know, on the good side of the material. Don't want to do that. see if I can lay this on top of something. I really don't want glue getting stuck to the front of this. Let's just use the backer board for the second panel. Should be a nice area to lay it down on. There we go. All right. So yeah, you know, pretty self-explanatory. I'm just gonna come in here, spray glue, just kind of fold all this under. Also, I didn't bother folding the top over because that's going to be hidden by the panel that I go on top, and I got to make sure I have room to put the nuts back in to hold the, you know, that plastic trim with the window felt. I'm definitely going to leave a little more material on the edges when I do the passenger side. Cut it a little short, but I don't think it's going to pull back because, you know, this is going to be pressed against the door too with the clips. You can also come in here, cut all these out because these don't need to be perfect either, because you don't got to wrap it underneath because the trim goes over it, kind of like the top edge. Oh, look at that. Check that out. Exactly what I was looking for. You see, we got the little, you know, little stick out cushiness, kind of how the factory had it. But we got the suede now. Trim looks great. And then all that needs to be done, the matte pocket, I'm going to clean this up real good. I don't know, I have dye. I might, depending on how well it cleans up, I might dye it. It's a little loud, huh? And that one was like trying to kill me. It just stunk of fumes and it wasn't glowing anymore. I tried cleaning the spark plug, it didn't do anything. So, oh, there you go. We're at 70 degrees already. This one has a built-in thermostat, so you don't got to keep turning it on and off. So for the top trim with the window felt, these are cracked, both door panels. My Camaro is the same way. It's like a really common thing. You can see the whole thing is kind of bowed in. So I'm not really sure what I could do about this, aside from trying to pull it apart and like hot glue it or something, or crazy glue it. I still don't think that's going to do anything. It's just going to break in the same spot. So for now, I'm going to install it just the way it is. And if anybody makes reproductions of these, let me know. And we can always just pop this off and replace it later. Kind of sucks, but luckily the felt is actually in good condition, the sweep itself. Can't say the same for the ones on the outside, but this one's pretty good. Also, let me know if there's a speed nut tool for these stupid ass inverted speed nuts that I absolutely despise. That's looking pretty damn good. Not crazy about this. I wish it was either this color or this color. You know, not too big of a deal. Maybe I'll get dye. I think the dye that I have is this color to like do the rest of the panels in the car. But we can always, you know, pop the panel, unscrew this, do it some other time. Last thing we need to do is the satisfying part. Let's get this trim on. Literally, I'm just going to come behind here, bend all these little tabs back, and that's it. We are there. Beautiful. Holy crap, that looks absolutely great. All right, check it out. I figured out a solution to my edge problem. So I was able to pull the vinyl away from the foam backing, and then I just scraped all the foam off of the board. Now I could fold over just the vinyl without the foam, and it'll lay completely flat. So I'm just gonna re-glue that entire edge, and this panel's done. There we go, that's way better. It's actually glued down now. I came a little close here with the knife when I was cutting the foam, but it's right on the edge and luckily at the bottom. So you're not gonna see it once the panel's on, but that's one finish. Let's flip this thing over. All right, there we go. One panel down. Look how nice that friggin' came out. And I actually like the light gray with the suede there, compared to the old panel. Just looks so dark now. The matte pocket is all right. I don't know, I still might try to do something with the suede eventually, pull that off, maybe see if I can recover it. But this looks friggin' incredible. For what I paid to do this, I mean, why spend hundreds of dollars on repo panels? Just do it yourself. You're gonna get exactly what you're looking for. Pick your own colors. I was actually a little tempted to do something here with like an 80s pattern, you know, some kind of like 80s arcade kind of stupid thing, but I couldn't find anything I liked. And then I kind of went the boring route with the suede, but it sure looks classy and not soaked in piss. So, all right, I'm gonna go make another panel. I'll see you guys in a second. And check it out, just like that, 2 door panels. It's a few days later. It's actually 12:30 in the morning right now. I decided just to come out and, you know, I didn't want to end the video without having 2 panels. And here they are. Look at these things. I couldn't be happier with the way they came out. The suede, the light gray, even the dark gray with the matte pocket. And then once we get, you know, get them in the car, get the armrests on, I think everything is going to tie together so nicely. There isn't, at least nothing that I have found, there isn't a door panel on the market now that I would pay for over these personally. I just like the look of the suede. It all just tied together really, really nice. Now, a couple of little things. The rails up here, whatever you want to call them, that hold the window felt, both of them are shot. Like I said, they're cracked. The passenger side, though, is even worse. It has multiple broken tabs up here, so this doesn't really sit. Like the speed nut studs are broken off. And then the felt itself is just completely falling apart. I'm gonna throw these in for now the way they are. We're actually gonna do it next video when we put the interior in. For the backs, I did go ahead and add a little bit of sound deadening. I had this, what the hell is this stuff? This Noiko, whatever you wanna call it, left over from the interior of the car. And I just stuck a bunch of it on the back because the original panels had that, like, it's almost like carpet insulation sound deadening that the rats just completely ate and like pissed on and made a nest out of inside the door, which is another reason why we're actually not putting these on right now, because the passenger door is almost filled halfway up with just rat's nest or mouse nest. I got to suck out of it and like clean and disinfect and shit. But for somebody who doesn't do any interior work, the most I've ever done is a headliner. Anybody can do this. Like, it was so easy. The biggest thing for me was figuring out how I wanted to avoid having to stitch anything and hide the seam. And just by using the factory trim to hide the seam there, go with the suede, just getting rid of the carpet that was kind of here and just going with one piece. It was the easiest way to do it, and I managed to get away without having to sew anything or really know what I was doing. It just came together so nice. And let me know what you think down in the comments, but once again, I really couldn't be happier with these things. Let me pull my phone out and see how much I actually paid for all this stuff. I thought it was gonna come in at under $100. Unfortunately, the vinyl kind of blew the budget on that. I couldn't find anything locally, so I ended up going on eBay. I picked up the foam back marine vinyl for 90 bucks for the roll. Now there's a little bit left over. I have enough to do one more panel, and the faux suede ended up costing me 20 bucks for that roll. And there's just enough left over to do one more panel on that too. Actually, you could probably do multiple panels because it's such a small amount that you actually need. But the vinyl, yeah, there's enough for one. On top of that, I did go and pick up a can of satin black Krylon, just because I didn't have any paint laying around to do the trim. The spray glue was a little expensive. That was like 22 bucks for the can. And lastly, the main component you're going to need is the backing board, which I used that marker board, 1/8 inch that I got from Lowe's. 15 bucks a piece. So 30 bucks, that's pretty much like the basis that you need to make your panel. And I won't be surprised if you could end up doing this for like way cheaper. So all in, I'm at about 170 bucks for my panels. But if you could source stuff locally, maybe a flea market, maybe you could get some stuff on clearance. I was looking in the clearance section of Joann, and there was like a lot of stuff there that I could have used that really didn't look bad, but it wasn't. I had in my head what I wanted the panel to look like, and I couldn't find what I wanted there. But for sure, if you're smart with the fabric you pick out, you can make a pair of these for like 100 bucks without an issue. It's just that vinyl like absolutely kicked my ass. That's why it ended up being so much money. And at the end of the day, 170 bucks for a pair of panels that I'm super happy with. I have no experience being like a seamstress or a interior guy by any means. The most I ever did was just glue some fabric to a headliner. These came out great. Next video, we're going to get them installed, and we are also going to install the entire interior of the Trans Am. So stay tuned for that.